So picture this. How does a company practically triple its revenue in a single quarter, up 199%, secure a massive $100 million letter of intent from the US government, and simultaneously watch its own chief technology officer dump $12.7 million in stock on a single day? Well, welcome to the deep tech paradox of Rigetti computing in 2026.
On one hand, you've got this ultimate catalyst, right? Explosive Q1 numbers driven by their Novera systems, plus serious backing from the Department of Commerce under the CHIPS Act. It looks absolutely incredible. But then, on the flip side, there's massive insider selling and the quiet but frankly painful loss of a critical federal DARPA contract. We're looking at a fundamental tug of war between breakthrough science and hard financial reality. And honestly, unpacking this exact intersection where world-changing tech collides with the balance sheet is exactly why we're here. So if you're into that, make sure you subscribe to Future Ready.
Just look at this number, $12.7 million. That is exactly what Rigetti's CTO David Rivas walked away with on May 29th. Now, sure, he still retains some shares, but when a top technical leader cashes out at that scale, literally right as the company is pushing for a monumental physics-defined breakthrough, it totally changes the psychology around the stock. Wall Street notices when an insider makes a move like this. Section 1. Decoding the Quantum Advantage. Rigetti's whole foundation is built on something called superconducting qubits. To put it simply, they use microwave signals kept at ultra-low freezing temperatures to unlock massive speed and scalability. We're talking gate speeds of 50 to 70 nanoseconds. That's roughly 1,000 times faster than the alternative ion trap systems out there. It's ridiculously fast. And this speed, this efficiency, is exactly why governments are throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at the problem. Quantum computing isn't just a faster traditional computer. It completely rewrites the math. If you're trying to solve mind-bendingly complex problems, like discovering life-saving drugs or optimizing global logistics, a quantum system can do it using 80 times less power than today's top supercomputers. It's a total paradigm shift for energy efficiency. To actually capitalize on this, Rigetti is executing an unbelievably aggressive roadmap. They've already successfully rolled out their modular Ankaa 3 and Cepheus chiplet systems, effectively slashing their error rates in half. But they aren't stopping there. The plan demands a 150-plus qubit system by the end of 2026, and then scaling rapidly to a massive 1,000-plus qubit architecture by 2027. I mean, they are quite literally trying to engineer machines that operate at the absolute limits of known physics. Section 2. The Race for Supremacy on the Quantum Battlefield. Which brings us to a pretty harsh reality check. The federal government, through DARPA's Quantum Benchmarking Initiative, has been actively testing which of these sci-fi technologies can actually deliver commercially. And Rigetti didn't make the cut for Stage B. Missing out on a critical benchmark like that, it's a heavy blow when you're trying to prove your hardware is the industry standard. Because right now, the market for early quantum research contracts is just a total night fight. Rigetti is going head-to-head with absolute titans like Google and IBM in the superconducting space, while simultaneously fighting off totally different tech approaches, like IonQ's trapped ion systems or QCI's photonics. Every single contract matters for survival. The winner here isn't just getting a grant. They're literally building the infrastructure for the next century. If you want to understand these industry-defining shifts before the rest of the market does, this is your reminder to hit subscribe to Future Ready. But hey, despite that DARPA snub, Rigetti still commands a ton of institutional trust. You can actually rent time on their systems right now through public clouds like Amazon Bracket. Plus, they just announced an intention to invest up to $100 million in the UK over the next few years, backed by groups like the National Quantum Computing Center. Geopolitically, the demand for domestic quantum power is still a massive tailwind for them. Section 3. Growth, insider sales, and explosive Q1 metrics. Let's look at their Q1 2026 financial report. We are talking a staggering 199% top-line revenue growth year over year, hitting $4.4 million. This surge wasn't magic. It was driven by actual commercial monetization of their Novera systems and cloud access. They are proving right now that researchers and institutions will hand over cold hard cash today for early-stage quantum access. But, okay, let's ground this in reality. That $4.4 million in revenue, it's sitting right next to a very steep $14.7 million adjusted net loss for the exact same quarter. And honestly, this is the textbook deep tech paradox. The R&D cash burn required to build a 1,000-qubit supercomputer is just immense, and you have to spend a fortune long before the broader market fully materializes. So how do they survive that kind of development phase? Well, with a highly resilient balance sheet. Rigetti carries zero debt, none, and they're sitting on $418.2 million in liquid cash and short-term assets. To put that into perspective, that is an ironclad operational runway. They actually have the capital to fund their own research without having to immediately dilute shareholders or take on toxic, high-interest loans. Which loops us right back to the contradiction that kicked off this whole analysis. Against the backdrop of a massive cash runway and exploding revenues, we see over $15 million in combined insider dumping over just a few days in late May and early June of 2026. The CEO, Subodh Kulkarni, sold $2.6 million, and the CTO dumped nearly $13 million. Regardless of their personal reasons for selling, this kind of volume at the top executive level creates massive psychological resistance. At that point, traders stop asking, how high can it go, and start asking, okay, who is the next seller? Section 4. Synthesizing the bull versus the bear case. All right, the bull case here is undeniably compelling. You've got 199% revenue growth, a highly scalable modular chiplet technology that is actively driving down error rates, and a bulletproof $418 million cash runway with zero debt. Plus, crucially, the U.S. Department of Commerce is stepping in with a letter of intent for up to $100 million in CHIPS Act funding. If Rigetti executes their roadmap, they are hands down the ultimate picks and shovels investment for the coming quantum era. But the bear case is equally stark. You simply cannot ignore heavy, high-level insider selling. You have to factor in the loss of critical benchmarks like the DARPA initiative to rivals like IonQ, and you're looking at massive, ongoing R&D burn in a commercial market that is still largely unproven and limited mostly to government contracts. This kind of insane volatility is par for the course when you're operating at the absolute edge of physics. And frankly, separating the real, world-changing breakthroughs from the overhyped noise is exactly why you should subscribe to Future Ready right now. So what does this all mean? Is Rigetti a technological pioneer destined to absolutely dominate the 2030s, or are they just a highly funded science experiment running out of time? Ultimately, the answer lies in their ability to bridge the gap between that 1,000 qubit vision in the harsh, practical realities of commercial adoption over the next 24 months. If you want to stay ahead of the companies and technologies shaping the future, subscribe to Future Ready channel. Like the video and tell me which company I should break down next.